सभी उपस्थित जनों को शिक्षकों को, मेरे गुरुओं को मेरा नमस्कार, सभी शिष्यों को मेरा नमस्कार. It must be overwhelming for you to have stayed so long, and but yes, I'll stick to 10 minutes. That is what I have to speak within. Is okay? Am I audible now? So I was just waiting for my PPT to be displayed here. Okay. So I have either of the two things to do today, either talk at length because I'm the last one to speak today, or consolidate whatever was spoken since morning, and also this special session on decolonization and indigenization of legal education and the national education policy. So I stand here today to consolidate and bring home a point, in fact, to the stage here, because सुबह अगर आपने सुना था तो जस्टिस मालवीय ने बोला कि हम सबको पॉइंट पे आना चाहिए और घुमाना नहीं चाहिए, सीधा पॉइंट पे आना चाहिए. एंड बगैर घुमाए पहले पॉइंट पे आती हूँ, फिर घुमाना शुरू करती हूँ आपको. सो आई एम स्पीकिंग ऑन harmonizing the requirements of international law under WTO and meeting national aspirations. So to begin with, if you have seen this quote of John Grisham, all students, they enter the law school with a certain amount of idealism. We understand idealism, right? Idealism is, एक बहुत ही आपका सबसे अच्छा रूप जिससे आपको देश के लिए, दुनिया के लिए कुछ करने को की चाहत होती है, और आप उस आइडियलिज्म से जब आप एंटर करते हैं लॉ स्कूल में, तो एंड यू हैव अ डिज़ायर टू सर्व द पब्लिक, but after 3 years or now 5 years of brutal competition, we care for nothing but the right job with the right firm where 5-7 lakh रुपए हम कमा पाए, right? So can you go to the next slide, please? That's a quote. I hope everybody actually is on the same page when I quote this here. Like most of us, we do law for earning. We learn the law for learning later. So please move forward. So I had actually brought a movie clip, but I have removed it because there's a shortage of time. So that movie clip was about telling you, in fact, everybody knows about it, that you can't learn everything. You need to know legally. This is one quote, of course, of John Irving. Now, why do we have to understand these quotes here? This is not an English class. This is not a sociology class. But why do we have to understand these quotes? I wanted to consolidate on one thing here, because a lot has been spoken about why we should be decolonizing and understand dharma as the base of all law, and we know that dharma is important. We may be critical of the new education policy, but we somewhere know that the values or the aspirations of the new education policy is what leads us to understanding this void which we have in the system today. So if you go to the next slide, please. So new education policy, what does it aspire for? It aspires to create a system that is aligned with the aspirational goals of 21st century education, while remaining consistent with India's traditions and values. There is no rocket science here, and we have spoken at length since morning on this. And some of the learned speakers here have spoken about dharma, the dharma shastras, the smritis, where we derive our values from. Can you please take me to the next slide? Can you move forward? Now, we also know that there's a colonial history we have, and the Babu Dam, which we have been focusing on since generations. In fact, with due respect to a lot of judges today, we all know that many of the judges in the Supreme Court, many of the top lawyers in the country are from the same family. That also had applied to some of the politicians, and it still continues in some areas. So the new education policy, it recognizes this need for a nuanced understanding of history, because unless we understand history and the value systems, we cannot eliminate this culture of lordships and those the colonial ways of having a license to practice just because you're a son of or a daughter of a top shot. Move forward, please. So but then we have something which makes our country, Bharat, the responsibility of Bharat to globalize education, because India, that is Bharat, is part of an international family. It is part of a globalized world. India, of course, is a sovereign, but we have to understand that it has its obligations under international law. So somewhere, when we decolonize, or we plan to reconstruct the laws or even the education system, we're not specifically speaking about the laws here, the entire education system, we are bound by certain international obligations, and there I mentioned that the globalization of legal education is in part a challenge to the relative complacency of the groups in colonies like Brazil, India, and some of the colonies which the British had colonized, and not just the British, in fact there were many colonizers. Some of the literature argues that it will give, if you decolonize, with a sense of globalization, if you try to, decolonize with understanding global values, then you will be able to have a more US-oriented meritocratic approach. I have actually struck off the US-oriented meritocratic approach, the word US-oriented, because meritocracy is not, it's not something which US owns. US or any country would own. So can you move forward, please? So my paper, which I'm intending to write, in fact it's a working paper right now, it will also do a comparative analysis of countries which have tried to decolonize their education using global standards. For example, this University of Victoria in 2005 had tried to bring in courses from keeping the cultural relativism, the indigenous ways of learning in mind, and those have had a positive impact on the legal culture, the services which the law fraternity is giving in the country there. Can you please move forward? There are some countries, of course, where globalization is the only option. There is no way, because they don't have an indigenous legal system. Contrary to what we have in India, we have a very mature, Vedic system, the Smritis, the Dharma Shastras, which we all know of, and these are these can be utilized to imbibe those values which are lacking in the current legal education in India, and of course catering to what the NEP would require. Move forward, please. Now, what is this tension between? I'm hoping that I have brought in the importance of globalization as well as indigenization. But do you also identify that tension which is prevalent in these two, globalization and traditional ways of education? There is always a tension. So this NEP here advocates internationalization of education and is viewed as a multifaceted strategy responding to globalization. So NEP itself may not be speaking about legal education in particular, maybe a couple of paragraphs which it speaks legal education in, but generally it talks mostly in terms of aspirations of the people. You move forward, please. So the most important thing is, yes, I had said in the beginning that we are part of the international community, and there is an international obligation on India to cater to international law. Now, WTO as such does not have explicit rules governing legal education. Although we are party to the WTO, there is some kind of a lacuna there in education as a service under GATS. I'm not getting into what GATS is and what GATT is at this moment, but for the benefit of those who are not aware of it, it is an agreement which nations are bound by. It is an agreement that all the nations have to treat each other's services in the as the most favored service. So WTO indirectly affects legal education in India, and through its agreements, and it may have implications in legal education sector in India. Can you please move forward? But it doesn't categorically state that legal education is a service. It speaks about legal services as service, but it doesn't talk about legal education as a service. So there's a lacuna there. So trade and legal services could be related to education sector there. I'm hope. Yes. And I'll wind it up in 2 minutes. Please move forward. So I'll not cover all these because I've got only 1 minute to speak. So trade and services is, can you move forward? Legal services. Okay. Can you go back, please? So classification of, can you please go back? The classification of legal services. Okay, I'll end it. So the point which I wanted to make is to consolidate it all. There is a lacuna in giving a proper guideline to the country party, the member contracting parties of the WTO on what legal education would mean, because it all is covered under education sector. And when you speak about education sector itself is something which can be divided into governmental services and non-governmental services, because many of the countries, they take it as a social obligation, and therefore it might not cover the services as something which would cater to the balance of payments of the country. So I rested there, and by saying that what I have identified in the literature which I have studied till now and would want to work on this hypothesis that there is a lacuna there of incorporating legal education as a service in WTO, and therefore the NEP might face some difficulty in, not the policy itself, but whatever is coming out of the policy might face difficulty in implementation at the foreign level. That is, when we try to accept foreign institutions, foreign campuses in India. The UGC has also come up with some regulations in 2023 on these foreign universities. They're now able to set up their campuses in India. So that's what I wanted to end it there by saying that it is not an easy task for, even if you want to decolonize, it has teething problems, and we should, of course, and I'm a proponent of it. But there could be, when we are trying to globalize education by imbibing the Indian values, there could be some kind of tussle between the government services and the education services, which we have to under our obligations under WTO. That's where I rest. Thank you.